Have you ever wondered just how wealthy the Vatican, the smallest independent city-state in the world, truly is? This tiny enclave, nestled within the heart of Rome, is more than just a city. It's a beacon of faith for the world's billion-plus Catholics, an epicenter of religious history, and the home of the Pope himself. The Vatican, you see, is an enigma wrapped in a mystery. Its wealth is rumored to be unimaginable, yet the exact figures remain elusive. Despite its size, a mere 44 hectares, the Vatican's influence stretches across continents, cultures, and centuries. But where does all its wealth come from? Well, there are several sources. Let's start with the most obvious one: donations. The Vatican receives hefty donations from Catholics worldwide. These offerings, also known as Peter's pence, are given freely by the faithful to support the Pope and his works. This centuries-old tradition continues to be a substantial source of income for the Vatican, but donations are not the only source of income. The Vatican is also a savvy investor. Its portfolio is said to include real estate, stocks, and even gold reserves. This diversification helps the Vatican maintain a steady stream of income even during economic downturns. Then there's the revenue from the Vatican's cultural treasures. The Vatican museums, home to a vast collection of art and historical artifacts, attract millions of visitors each year. Each ticket sold contributes to the Vatican's coffers, not to mention the income from merchandise and memorabilia that tourists eagerly snap up as souvenirs. Despite all this, the exact figure of the Vatican's wealth remains unknown. The Vatican is not obliged to disclose its financial records to the public, and as such, its wealth is often a subject of speculation and intrigue. From an outsider's perspective, the Vatican's wealth remains a mystery, shrouded in centuries of history and faith. It's an enigma that continues to captivate the world, but one thing is clear. The Vatican, small as it may be, is a financial powerhouse unlike any other. But to truly understand the Vatican's wealth, we need to travel back in time, to the dawn of the Vatican's establishment, when the accumulation of its wealth began. It all started with a man named Constantine the Great, a Roman emperor, who in the 4th century legalized Christianity, paving the way for the establishment of Vatican City. Constantine's significant contributions to the Vatican are noteworthy. He gifted the Bishop of Rome the Lateran Palace, marking the first Roman Catholic ecclesiastical property. This monumental gift was the seed from which the Vatican's wealth grew. Over the years, the Vatican amassed a wealth of properties, both religious and secular, across Rome and beyond. The Lateran Treaty of 1929 further solidified the Vatican's financial status. The Vatican received financial compensation from the Italian government in return for the recognition of its sovereignty. This treaty not only established Vatican City as an independent state, but also granted it a handsome sum of 92 million lira, which is roughly equivalent to $1 billion today. This money was invested wisely, resulting in a significant increase in the Vatican's wealth. Donations also played a significant part in the accumulation of wealth. The faithful have always been generous, contributing not just money, but also priceless works of art and other valuable assets, further enriching the Vatican's coffers. It's also worth noting that the Vatican had its own unique form of generating income. It minted its own coins, printed its own stamps, and even ran its own bank. These operations, while serving the Vatican's needs, also contributed significantly to its wealth. The early years set the foundation for the Vatican's wealth, but this was just the beginning. The Vatican's wealth continued to grow over the centuries, reaching unimaginable proportions. But how did it manage to maintain this wealth? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the history of the Vatican's wealth in the Middle Ages. As we move into the Middle Ages, the Vatican's wealth began to grow and consolidate. During the Middle Ages, the Vatican's wealth expanded significantly, and this period was marked by an influx of donations, land acquisitions, and the establishment of the Papal States. This era can be seen as a crucial turning point in the financial history of the Vatican, when its wealth began to take the form we recognize today. The Church, being the dominant institution of the Middle Ages, played an instrumental role in the economic and political affairs of Europe. It wielded not just spiritual power, but also temporal power. which was manifest in the form of vast land holdings across the continent. From humble monasteries to grand cathedrals, the church's properties were not just spiritual centers, but also economic powerhouses. Donations were another significant source of income. The faithful seeking to secure their place in the afterlife often left substantial gifts to the church in their wills. These bequests, known as mortmain, could include anything from gold and jewels to land and property. Over centuries, these donations accumulated, adding significantly to the church's wealth. In the 8th century, a significant development took place with the establishment of the Papal States. These were territories in the Italian peninsula under the direct rule of the Pope. They were a major source of income and power for the Vatican, allowing it to maintain its independence and influence in an era of powerful monarchies and emerging nation-states. But the Middle Ages was not just about accumulation. The Church also played a key role in the development of banking and finance. The Knights Templar, for example, created an early form of banking system, receiving deposits, making loans, and even transferring funds across Europe. In essence, the Middle Ages were a period of financial innovation and growth for the Vatican. Its wealth did not just grow, but it became more complex, more integrated into the fabric of society, and more instrumental in the affairs of the world. The Middle Ages were a time of expansion and consolidation for the Vatican's wealth. Fast forward to modern times, the Vatican's wealth continues to be a topic of intrigue and controversy. The Vatican's current wealth, like a vast tapestry, is woven from a myriad of sources. The Vatican Bank, officially known as the Institute for the Works of Religion, is one of the most significant contributors to its wealth. The bank's primary role is to manage the Church's assets and conduct worldwide financial activities on its behalf. It is estimated that the bank manages billions of euros in assets, although the exact figure remains closely guarded. The bank's operations are shrouded in secrecy, which has often led to speculation and controversy. Apart from the Vatican Bank, the Vatican's revenue also stems from its real estate holdings. The Vatican owns properties not only in Rome, but also in other parts of Italy and abroad. These properties, rented out for commercial purposes, contribute significantly to the Vatican's coffers. The Vatican's wealth is also bolstered by donations from the faithful around the world. Every year, millions of Catholics donate to the Peter's Pence Collection, a fund that supports the Pope's charitable works and the administrative costs of the Vatican. However, the Vatican's wealth hasn't been without its share of controversies. The Vatican Bank has been embroiled in numerous scandals over the years, involving allegations of money laundering, corruption, and fraud. These controversies have led to calls for greater transparency and accountability in the Vatican's financial dealings. In response, the Vatican has taken steps to reform its financial system, including the Vatican Bank, to ensure greater transparency and compliance with international banking standards. However, these efforts have been met with resistance from within, highlighting the challenges the Vatican faces in balancing its spiritual mission with its worldly wealth. Despite the controversies, the Vatican's wealth remains a testament to its enduring influence and power. Its wealth, amassed over 2 millennia, continues to spark debate and intrigue, a reflection of the Vatican's complex role in the world today. So what can we take away from our journey through the Vatican's wealth? Firstly, the Vatican's wealth is not solely monetary. Its riches are multifaceted, spanning religious, cultural, and historical dimensions. The Vatican owns priceless works of art, historical documents, and religious relics that hold immeasurable value. These are not just assets in a conventional sense, but treasures that represent centuries of human history and spiritual devotion. Financially, the Vatican's income is derived from a variety of sources. There are the Peter's Pence donations from the Catholic faithful around the world, revenues from the Vatican museums, and profits from real estate holdings. Not to forget, the Vatican Bank, also known as the Institute for the Works of Religion, plays a significant role in the Vatican's financial affairs. The growth of the Vatican's wealth over time is a testament to its long-standing influence and power. From the humble beginnings in the early years to the accumulation of wealth during the Middle Ages and the modern financial complexities of today, the Vatican's wealth has been a dynamic entity, It has weathered political upheavals, societal changes, and economic crises, yet remained a significant global financial player.